Coming up on Vegas Nation Game Day, we get you ready for the Raiders game against the Los Angeles Chargers. And we compare the NFL's newest toys in Nevada and California.
The Raiders took 31 months to build Allegiant Stadium, while it took 47 months to build SoFi.
Our fast takes and smart coverage kicking off right now.
This is Vegas Nation Game Day. Brought to you by Meineke and your local Meineke dealers. When you shop for quality, shop Meineke.
You are looking at the brand new SoFi Stadium, where at 1 o'clock this afternoon, the Las Vegas Raiders will try to continue their winning ways against the Los Angeles Chargers. Happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Vegas Nation Game Day. I'm your host, Cassie Soto, and joining me here in studio this week is Review Journal sports reporter Sam Gordon.
Thanks, Cassie. I'm glad to be back here with you. And the Raiders are back to above 500 after winning a Garoppolo-filled game against the Cleveland Browns. This week, they have a critical AFC West matchup against Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers.
That's right, Sam. And whether you are joining us on Cox Your View, Facebook, YouTube, or VegasNation.com, we are glad you are here. And we look at the game from all angles, and we will take a look at the place where the Chargers and the Rams now call home. So speaking of which, let's go ahead and go out to Inglewood, California now, where our teammates Heidi Fang, Vinny Bonsignor, and Ed Graney are standing by with their fast takes and smart coverage of the game. Heidi, take it away.
Thanks so much, Cassie. It's Heidi Fang here with Vinny Bonsignor, Ed Graney. We're out in front of the brand new SoFi Stadium, where the Raiders are going to take on the Chargers shortly. Now, we have to look back before we go forward. So, Ed, tell us what you saw out of the Raiders in Cleveland that you hope they carry into this game.
You know, there's a little present and future. The present one, they win 16-6. Why? They ran the ball. They pounded the ball with Josh Jacobs. That's a present. Terrific win on the road in bad weather. Future, if the Raiders should ever find themselves in a playoff game this year, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, back in Cleveland, Buffalo, they've proven to themselves, Heidi and Vinny, they can win on the road in bad weather and do it the John Gruden way by running the ball. It was a great win last week.
All right, now, Vinny, let's look at what the Raiders need this week to get this win here in SoFi Stadium.
Well, weather's not going to be a concern, and as Ed said, they got to run the ball just like they did last week, but that's going to be a challenge. The Raiders are already down. Colton Miller may not play today. That's going to be a game time decision with his injury. Trent Brown is already out. We know that. Richie Incognito is already out. So there's a good chance that they're going to be down 3 starting offensive linemen. So somehow, some way, they're going to have to get it done up front without 3 of their best players, and that's going to be a challenge against this defensive front that the Chargers present. Now, good news for the Raiders. Joey Bosa will not play today because he's still in concussion protocol. That's a little bit of a break, but this is still a very formidable Chargers defense, and the Raiders are going to be shorthanded, it looks like. We'll find out about Colton Miller at game time, but if he can't go, that's going to be a big challenge up front against a really good Chargers defense.
All right, maybe we'll be able to update you before we leave the show today on Colton Miller's status. For now, back to you in the studio.
Guys, thank you so much. So, Sam, now for our third storyline, and that is medical mishaps, something that both of these teams have in common. If you remember back in week 2, Chargers starting quarterback Tyrod Taylor's lung was punctured, Sam, when a team doctor tried to administer a pain-killing injection to Tyrod Taylor's cracked rib. And last week, shortly before we went on air, something similar happened to the Raiders.
Yeah, with right tackle Trent Brown, right, Cassie? He was ready to come back. As we know, he tested positive for the coronavirus. Did not play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and was ready. He was activated off the COVID list that Friday, practiced, and was going to play against the Cleveland Browns. He's getting a pregame IV, something very common in the NFL, just kind of precautionary, and lo and behold, there gets some air into his bloodstream because of a botched IV. He's rushed to the Cleveland hospital, spends the night there. He's okay. He's all good as far as we know on that end. But then he comes back to Las Vegas, and he's still experiencing some coronavirus-related symptoms. So he's not playing this week, back on the coronavirus list. Just kind of a bizarre situation, and especially given what happened to Tyrod Taylor, the fact that you have kind of 2 players in this game or on these teams that were involved in something so weird. Weird deal for sure, but hopefully Trent Brown is healthy and ready to go and can continue to recover.
Right, Sam. Well, obviously we are not doctors here at Vegas Nation Game Day, so we sought out a professional's opinion on the locker room mishaps. I spoke with Dr. Caleb Pinniger, an orthopedist with Crevetti Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, and he explained the injuries as well as how common or uncommon these mistakes are.
In the specific space with Tyrod Taylor, he gets an injection before game because he's got a couple broken ribs. And the purpose is to try to numb that area so that while he's playing, he doesn't feel the pain. You're not curing the broken rib, but you're making it not hurt so that while he plays, he's functional and good. And that space where the nerves are beneath these ribs is really, really, really tight. You're talking a couple millimeters of space. In this case, it sounds like that needle went a little too far and put a hole in the lung. And then as he tries to breathe, air escapes. And as the air escapes, his lung collapses. So with IVs, I mean, if the IV bag's hung too low, or if someone's putting together the tubing and doesn't basically bleed out that air before it gets hooked up, there's a number of reasons why sometimes that'll happen. That as that IV gets administered, if it pushes this little section of air into the vessel, now you have air trapped inside the body, inside a vessel. And the problem with that is that if it gets to an area where it actually blocks blood flow beyond that spot, it can cause problems. So they call it an air embolism. The body can resorb it, but the problem is if you don't catch it quick and prevent the little piece of air from getting to anything problematic, they can be in trouble. The incidence, what we call like the percentage of what might happen when you're giving a person an injection for a rib, so they call it an intercostal nerve block. When you're given that injection, it can happen about 6% of the time, so it's not unheard of. The trick is those injections aren't given that often, and so with that, up to 6 out of 100 can actually get a poke in the lung. Now with the IV, those numbers are not reported fully because most of them, like I said, they resolve. You just keep an eye on a person and they might not get reported to a governing body of some kind. But the numbers I was able to track down were in the neighborhood of between 3 and 100,000. And then a couple reports talked about it being closer to like 1 in 800. So kind of a broad section of numbers, but small percentages. You're talking about less than 1% with all these. So with Tyrod Taylor, his concern is letting that lung heal. And so that's why he's had such a time off after this injury, was because you got to wait, you can't stress the lung, you got to let it heal before you actually get back to sports and back to pushing it. In the case of Trent Brown, that really, once it resolves and the body absorbs it, which is much quicker than healing a lung, he shouldn't have any complication at all.
Well, the health-related issues don't stop there. This week, the Raiders were fined $500,000 and stripped of a 6th-round draft pick for violating the league's coronavirus protocol. Head coach John Gruden, who was fined an additional $150,000, defended his team's handling of the virus on Friday.
I'm just going to say very proud of our organization, how we have handled this entire protocol and this entire process. And I'm not going to comment any further than that. As I said last week, I believe we're on the cutting edge of being the best at servicing players. And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to talk about it. I'll be happy to talk about the Chargers. Like I said, I'm really proud of the guys that I work with here. We've done a heck of a job. It's a very difficult process. And I stand by what we're doing here. I believe we're doing a heck of a job.
Sam, the Raiders have said they want to crush this virus from the beginning. So do you agree with Coach on this one?
Cassie, no, I do not, frankly. It's 2020, right? The pandemic is surging. We know that. And it's not a surprise that a player or two here or there catches the coronavirus. But what we've become aware of is that the Raiders aren't doing everything they can to stop the spread of the virus. Trent Brown wasn't wearing his contact tracer, as we know. When he contracted the virus, as a result, the offensive lineman has to sit out a week of practice. Jonathan Abram can't play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Things like that. Not always wearing masks. As we know, Gruden was fined earlier this season for not wearing his mask against the New Orleans Saints. So it's pretty clear at this point the Raiders haven't done everything possible. They haven't exhausted all preventative measures to prevent the virus from spreading, and I think ultimately that's why you're seeing these fines. Look, this is a serious deal. So
I hope maybe losing the draft pick will change his motto there.
I would be surprised if they had any more coronavirus problems going forward in terms of violations and whatnot after that.
Well, now let's go ahead. It is time to check in on what's going on social media.
This social media update is sponsored by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable.
Let's go ahead and look at silver and black everything. This post imagines a SoFi as being home to neither the Chargers nor the Rams here, but home to the Raiders.
The Raiders did play in LA, right? It is a home away from home, or so they like to say. So, I mean, not too far off, right?
There you go. They make it a second home game for them. If fans remember last year, Phillip Rivers, when he was the quarterback there, it was a Raiders home game, because you remember that GIF where he's like, I can't hear anything, right?
2021.
Right. Well, on the same lines here, Ryan Hurst is giving SoFi Stadium a makeover as well. Look at this, Raiders vacation home.
A heck of a Photoshop job there. It looks good. Looks good.
We need to get this guy in our graphics team. I love that. Love that
fantastic.
There. All right. Well, still to come on Vegas Nation Game Day, we'll take a look at Chargers rookie quarterback Justin Herbert and his connections to Las Vegas. Don't go anywhere.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Vegas Nation Blitz is your weekly source for Raiders news.
We're going to stick together, bond together. We're going to make some changes.
Vegas Nation Blitz brings you fast takes and smart coverage.
All we have to do is make a stop right there, and the whole complexion of this game changes.
Vegas Nation Blitz, new episodes airing every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews. How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender either.
They are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe. Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
Field Pass is sponsored by Scenic Brewing Company, your neighborhood brewery and sports bar.
With your Field Pass, I'm Heidi Fang, coming at you live from the brand new SoFi Stadium, which is now the home of the Los Angeles Chargers and the Los Angeles Rams. This site used to be home to a completely different type of athlete. This was formerly known as the Hollywood Park Racetrack and was built in 1938 by Hollywood moguls as well as some celebrities. Now, in that first year that they were open, they had their own cup race in which the winner of it may be somebody that you're familiar with. Seabiscuit. There was a whole movie about it. Something you may not know about this site was when in the 1990s, the Rams decided to go back to St. Louis. This was also the site that they had thought the NFL would build a new stadium on for the Los Angeles Raiders. And that site was expected to cost $200 million and seat 65,000. However, the NFL also wanted it to be shared by another NFL team, and that was something that did not appeal to then owner Al Davis. So the Raiders decided to back out of the deal, went back to Oakland, and now have a brand new stadium that is in Las Vegas known as Allegiant. And the rest, they say, is history. So back to you guys in the studio.
Heidi, thank you so much. Well, since, of course, Las Vegas and Los Angeles were building their facilities at the same time, Sam, it is inevitable that we would compare these two projects. Well, this week I spoke with Allegiant Stadium insider Mick Akers to see how the two stadiums measure up.
Yeah, so obviously Allegiant Stadium and SoFi both opened up this year. A little different on construction timelines. The Raiders took 31 months to build Allegiant Stadium, while it took 47 months to build SoFi, they had a little weather delay the first year when they started, so it kind of put them a year behind. So Allegiant Stadium, 65,000 seat fan capacity, can go up to 72,000 for special events like the Super Bowl. SoFi, 70,400, expandable up to 100,240. So, a little bit larger. Obviously, LA is a bigger market, so it makes a little sense, but I think when you see them both full, you won't really be able to tell that much. As far as price, $2 billion for Allegiant, $5 billion for SoFi. They have a larger acreage site of 298 over there in LA, 62 over here in Las Vegas. So they have some more room to build out. So I think some of that price is some of the extra stuff they can build out. And then we got large Oculus screen inside SoFi. It's the centerpiece there. It goes around the entire field, and you kind of have a view from inside and out, no matter what level you're on. It's a 70,000 square feet video board. So the largest in Allegiant is like 12,000, which is on the south end. So, obviously they have a little bit more of a screen thing, but they didn't want the center hung one here in Vegas. But, the feature that kind of takes away from that here at Allegiant is the lanai doors and the Al Davis torch. You got the nice area that, they have the open space club where anyone can go with a ticket. They open up the doors to, one of the best views in any NFL stadium, the Las Vegas Strip. And then you have the Al Davis torch with the bar around it, so you can get your drinks and, admire the beauty inside and outside. But, I'd say location, Vegas will, Allegiant wins on this end because, we're right off the Strip. You got all kinds of amenities and restaurants and it shows whatever you want right there on the Strip. And, over there at SoFi, they're in Inglewood, a little bit outside of LA, closer to LAX, not much around that area. So, they're going to develop it, down the line. But right now, I'd say Allegiant takes the location as well.
Now we'll hear from an old friend of ours who now covers the Chargers as Ed Graney flips the field with Gilbert Manzano.
Thanks, Cassie. Yeah, it is Flip the Field. Who better to talk to about the Chargers than our old friend Gilbert Manzano from the SoCal News Group. Gilbert, how are you?
Doing well, Ed. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back here on Vegas Nation with you.
Yeah, good to see you back, man. You're covering the Chargers, doing a great job there. Let's start with the Chargers. Let's start with the quarterback, Justin Herbert. Now, look, we didn't think he'd be playing this soon. We know what happened with Tyrod Taylor and the medical issue, but he's not only playing, Gilbert, this kid is playing really well as a rookie. Has he surprised you, and why has he been able to translate to the league this easily?
Yeah, very surprising. I knew that he had all the physical tools, the arm strength, the size, mobility. But when it comes to accuracy, reading defenses, creating on the fly, all these crazy off-platform throws, you've seen the highlights. This guy's been very impressive. It doesn't matter how high you had him ranking coming out the draft. He's definitely exceeded that. And I've been very impressed how ready the Chargers got him, especially with a lack of offseason because of the pandemic. Tyrod Taylor taking all the first-team reps. And coming in on the fly against the Kansas City Chiefs in week 2. So whenever you throw kind of a challenge at Justin Herbert, he keeps answering, and he seems to get better. I think a week ago, maybe against the Denver Broncos, he kind of took maybe one step back, but even then, he had some stretches where he was pretty good. But overall, I've been very impressed with Justin Herbert.
Gilbert, we've seen what's happened recently. It's something that's happened with the Chargers in several years now. It seems like all the talent in the world defensively, they have an ability. They look like a playoff roster, and then things like happened at Denver last week where they lose games in the end. Covering the team as you have the last few years, have you been able to pinpoint what the problem is, or is it always different things when it comes down to these late game situations where they should win games and be a playoff team and just don't get it done in the end?
Yeah, at first you wanted to point the finger at the injuries. You haven't had Derwin James in a couple of years. There was a few games where you didn't have Melvin Ingram. You didn't have Drew Tranquill. There are a bunch of guys, Chris Harris Jr. But it keeps happening every week when the offense is getting you 30 points and they're giving you these 21-point leads or 16-point leads, whatever it is. That should be enough with the guys we have on the field. We just need one stop at the end of the game. So I think it's coming down to coaching right now with whatever Gus Bradley is calling. He likes to kind of go this zone defense, which sometimes that's enough for a running back, especially guys when you're facing guys like Tom Brady and Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes that. When you need a dump off of 5-10 yards and you're moving the chains and you have 3 timeouts, that's enough. And you have Justin Herbert on the sidelines, and it's kind of frustrating for the Chargers. So I think it goes back to Gus Bradley trying to figure out what to call when it comes to crunch time. He keeps saying that things are kind of chaotic right now, so he doesn't want to, switch it up too much by blitzing more guys than 4. But right now, they don't have really much answers with the Chargers, and it is becoming an issue on the defense side of the ball when it comes to crunch time.
I can't let you go without asking you. You covered the Raiders when you were here at the Review Journal. From afar, what do you think John Gruden's doing, and how do you like this matchup today?
Yeah, when I was there year one, I thought it was kind of a disaster at first with John Gruden. You're letting go of guys like Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper, and now they're looking great. You know, that game a week ago against the Browns, I know Odell Beckham was in there, but they pretty much shut down Baker Mayfield. So that's a good positive sign for the defense. And the offensive line, the Chargers don't know what that is. The offensive line is struggling for the Chargers, and John Gruden got to figure it out, especially with Colton Miller there. I remember he got drafted there in 2018, so it's good to see him kind of flourish there as a left tackle. So overall, they're playing kind of big boy football, kind of old school mentality, but also kind of spreading the ball around with Derek Carr. So it's kind of good to see the Raiders from afar do well in year 3 of John Gruden.
Gilbert, we appreciate it. It was great seeing you, man. Can't wait to see you at the game. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, always good talking to you, Ed, and I can't wait to see you guys again.
Well, there you have it, guys. It's Flip the Field with Gilbert Manzano. All you need to know about the Los Angeles Chargers. Back to you.
Thanks, Ed. Well, Sam Gordon and Cassie Soto here in studio. Sam, we know our teammate Adam Hill is in Los Angeles today covering the game.
But you can't stop him or Raiders beat writer Vinny Bonsignore from bringing their insights to us. They have this fast take on this week's opponent.
Thank you, guys. So here we are in front of SoFi. It's Adam Hill, Vinny Bonsignore, Heidi Fang with this week's opponent.
Yeah, the Raiders take on the Chargers today, and the Chargers are a team that, has a lot of guys missing. Joey Bosa, he's out today for sure, and Keenan Allen was going to maybe miss the game. They were preparing to play without him. He has cleared COVID protocol. He will play, so we'll see him out on the field. We'll see that explosive Chargers offense, and also a defense that has let some big leads go. And Vinny, we're just sports writers. We are not literary historians. Is it Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde? I can't remember which one they are.
Yeah, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy? I think it's the doctor's the good guy, Mr. Hyde's the bad guy. But that being said, Bill Parcells famously once said, "You are what your record says you are," and on that premise, the Chargers are 2-5. But I can assure you, the Raiders don't look at it that way. This is a team, as Adam mentioned, is a Jekyll and Hyde type of a situation, and the Raiders are focused on the Chargers version of the team that built double-digit leads against 4 quality opponents, only to blow all of those leads. So what team do you focus on? The one that built the lead or the one that blew the lead? For the Raiders, it's incumbent on them to be prepared for the team that built those leads. This is an explosive offense, as Adam said. Getting Keenan Allen back is huge. And they've got a rookie quarterback that's already shown 6 games into his NFL career that he's the real deal in Justin Herbert. And that's without fans in pristine conditions like this, I think he's going to be able to have a game like he has these last 6 games. So the Raiders need to be prepared for that. Not the team that blew all those leads, the one that built all those leads.
Adam, what do you think about Justin Herbert?
First of all, we'll look it up. I think Dr. Jekyll's the bad guy. I think Dr. Jekyll is the bad guy. We'll go with that. Yeah, Justin Herbert has shown some really, really good things. He's really putting up a lot of offense, a lot of numbers, a lot of good stuff through the air. He's using his legs as well to make plays, but he's just not making the winning plays at the end of the game. A couple bad interceptions, bad decisions. He's got to learn how to do that. He will. He's a rookie. He looks really, really good, better than anybody thought he would.
And it's typical Charger fashion to have this shiny new toy in Justin Herbert, but not really be able to celebrate it because the record doesn't reflect his play. And I know that Adam said that he's had some bad plays, but it's less on Justin Herbert. It's more on this Chargers team defensively. Some shaky play calling. I think they get conservative after they get these leads. They just need to let this kid just unleash him when they've got the lead, just be more aggressive. And that's the Charger team that the Raiders are prepared for.
Unleash the Warriors. All right, back to you in the studio.
Okay, a quick Google search, Sam. What did we find?
We found that Dr. Jekyll is the good guy and Mr. Hyde is the bad guy.
There you go. When we come back, J.R. Starkis will unveil his latest Vegas Nation cocktail.
But before we go to break, let's see if you can guess the right answer to this NFL trivia question.
NFL Trivia is presented by Attack Law. The best defense is a good offense. How many of the original AFL teams have never won a Super Bowl? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Vegas Nation Blitz is your weekly source for Raiders news.
We're going to stick together, bond together. We're going to make some changes.
Vegas Nation Blitz brings you fast takes and smart coverage.
All they have to do is make a stop right there, and the whole complexion of this game changes.
Vegas Nation Blitz, new episodes airing every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews. How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender either.
They are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe. Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
Welcome back to Vegas Nation Game Day. I'm Sam Gordon. It's not exactly a secret at this point this season. The Raiders' pass rush is struggling. They rank 31st in the NFL with 7 sacks and 23rd in pressure percentage, generating viable pressure on only 20.2% of opposing dropbacks per Pro Football Reference. That number is certainly buoyed by 23 pressures against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Raiders, they're also in the bottom 10 in QB knockdowns. But there is an antidote for an ailing pass rush, and that antidote is the Los Angeles Chargers, who are as bad at protecting quarterback Justin Herbert as the Raiders are at sacking opposing quarterbacks this year. Only the New York Giants allow more pressure than the Chargers this season, who allow opponents to generate pressure on 29.2% of dropbacks. The Chargers have also yielded an NFL-high 52 quarterback hurries this season as well. No other team has allowed more than 39. For all of their flaws, the Raiders should be able to generate pressure Sunday against Herbert and the Chargers. I'm Sam Gordon, and those are some numbers crucial to Sunday's game.
So much. And now, as promised, here is our friend J.R. Starkus with this week's Vegas Nation cocktail.
Hey Raider Nation, J.R. Starkus back with your Week 9 cocktail, and this is a great one. This is called the South Side. Now, the South Side is typically made by muddling mint with simple syrup, a little bit of fresh lime juice, and adding gin. This is made very easy now with the addition of this ripe, cold-pressed mojito mint sour mix. It's made with agave, mint oils, and fresh lime. Delicious. With botanist gin, which you've already picked up at the liquor store. So here's how we're gonna make it. 1.5 ounces of botanist gin with 2 ounces of the ripe mojito mix. This can be used for regular mojitos as well, but it works well perfectly in this cocktail, frankly. We're gonna add ice and shake, and then this will all be strained into a cocktail glass. You can put it over ice if you want. If you made this drink with rum, this, and added club soda, you have a mojito, right? So simple tweaks that we mixologists play with. Straining this into a cocktail glass. We're gonna garnish it. Typically it would be garnished with some mint, but today, to make things simple so you don't have to go get it unless you have some fresh in your yard, just a lime wheel right on top. And this is a really great, refreshing, classic cocktail made with botanist gin, Southside. Cheers.
JR, thank you so much. Well, when we say the fan base is a nation, we are not kidding. ESPN Central Texas personality, your boy Q, hosts the Locked On Raiders podcast. Our own Heidi Fang spoke to him about the Raiders' playoff hopes.
Do you see this team making that wild card spot, and what do you think a final record would be for them in order to have to be able to get to that spot.
Heidi, I've been saying it before the season started that this should be a playoff team. In year 3 with John Gruden, if you're not playing for the playoffs, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you've had time to take it down. You've had time to put some pieces in place. Now it's time to go execute. You know, I mean, again, if you're in year 3 and you're not expecting to make the playoffs, there's a problem. And you're there in Vegas. You know what happens when the Golden Knights hit town for the first season, right? I mean, they went to the finals. I know they didn't win, but they were a winning team. And so Vegas isn't going to want as much embrace as they have with the Raiders. They're not going to want to go out there and see a team that is not consistently making the playoffs. They're expecting a winning team, and John Gruden's expecting a winning team. So I've always kind of pounded the table and said, look, this is the year that they need to make the playoffs. I think this was the goal ever since John Gruden returned. Year 3, first year in Vegas, boom, playoff time. It's expanded to 14 teams right now. Who knows if it turns to 16, depending on COVID-19. Those kind of speculations have started to roll out over the past couple days. But I do believe that this is a team that should do that. But 10 wins, most likely 90% of the time, will get you in on your own without help from other teams. So I'm looking up and down schedule and saying, can you get 6 more wins? I think it's very possible. I expect them to make the playoffs. But with all that being said, they've got to go out there and execute it.
That'll do it for us. Back to you in the studio.
Kickoff today is at 1:05 this afternoon, so that means there's still plenty of time to place your bets. And Review Journal sports betting reporter Todd Dewey is here to help. He joins us now from the Mirage. Todd, what can you tell us about the betting trends for this game?
Happy NFL Sunday, Cassie. The Silver and Black have been golden on the road this season, winning and covering 3 of 4 games, including upsets at Cleveland and Kansas City. And sharp bettors and the betting public are all over the Raiders to extend that trend today in LA. The Chargers opened as 3-point favorites last Sunday before blowing a 21-point lead at Denver, and the line quickly dropped to 1.5. It went down to pick'em on Thursday, and the Raiders are now consensus 1-point favorites at Las Vegas sportsbooks, including here at the BetMGM book at the Mirage, which is taking money on the Raiders at a 10-1 margin, including a 6-figure wager on Las Vegas. Sharp bettors also are betting on the game to go under the total, which dipped from 54.5 to 51.5 before ticking back up to 52.5. That's despite the fact that the Raiders are 5-1-1 to the over, and the Chargers have gone over in 4 straight games. Las Vegas books are definitely going to need the Chargers in this game, and a bookmaker I spoke with told me he probably expects the Chargers to go up by 17 points, and the Raiders will come back to win the game. If the Raiders do fall behind, it's probably a wise bet to take them on the in-play money line, as the Chargers have blown leads of 16 points to more in 4 straight games. Good luck on your bets, everybody. Hope you pick some winners.
Todd, is there a prop bet on how big of a lead the Chargers will blow today?
I don't know. We could do a side bet, though, Cassie. What do you think?
There you go.
I don't know if they're going to, yeah.
I'll take that. Take my money. Take it all.
One.
Thank you so much, Todd. Well, remember, fans, if you want to follow Jim Barnes' live betting blog, as well as Todd's review of today's action, you can find that all and more at reviewjournal.com.
We're already halfway through the show, but we've got more fast takes and smart coverage yet to come. Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn will talk about what he expects from today's game. Heidi Fang will ask linebacker Nick Kwitkowski about the Raiders' defense. And when we come back, our own Kevin Cannon will check in from the UNLV game against Fresno State. Stay tuned.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Vegas Nation Blitz is your weekly source for Raiders news.
We're going to stick together, bond together. We're going to make some changes.
Vegas Nation Blitz brings you fast takes and smart coverage.
All we have to do is make a stop right there, and the whole complexion of this game changes.
Vegas Nation Blitz, new episodes airing every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews. How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender either.
They are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe. Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
Welcome back to Vegas Nation Game Day, presented by Meineke and your local Meineke dealers. When you shop for quality, shop Meineke.
NFL Trivia is presented by Attack Law. The best defense is a good offense. The answer is C, 3. The Buffalo Bills, the Houston Oilers, now the Tennessee Titans, and the Los Angeles Chargers have never lifted the Vince Lombardi Trophy.
Cassie Soto here with Sam Gordon. Sam, last week, Review Journal photographer Kevin Cannon took the Vegas Nation truck on a joyride. He took it out on the road and tested fans' knowledge of the Raiders.
And this week, he brought the truck to Allegiant Stadium for UNLV's game against Fresno State. And here's what he learned from the fans there.
Kevin Cannon here at a windy Allegiant Stadium on a beautiful Saturday for UNLV football. We're looking to do some Q&A with fans at the home they share with the Las Vegas Raiders. What's your favorite NFL team?
Tampa Bay Bucks.
Who's your favorite NFL team?
The Raiders all day. Raiders!
Dallas Cowboys. Philadelphia Eagles. What's your least favorite NFL team?
The Dallas Cowboys.
Who's your least favorite NFL team?
Cowboys, Cowgirls.
Who's your favorite Fresno State alum playing in the NFL now?
It would have to be Adams for the Green Bay Packers. He's really good. Plus Derek Carr. Derek Carr's quarterback here with the Raiders.
What do you think of Allegiant Stadium?
It's amazing. I drive by it every day on the way to work. It's absolutely amazing. This is exciting. Very happy to be here.
This is my first time being here, so I'm excited to see it. So far, 10 out of 10.
It's humongous.
It is. Well, we'll find out what the inside looks like soon. Okay, it's big. It's nice.
Who do you think Elvis would root for here?
Elvis would definitely be a Raiders fan, without a doubt.
What's the Raiders, you know? He's a Vegas guy. Yeah.
Who do you think that Elvis would root for?
Probably the Raiders, because we're in Vegas, so.
I think he'd be rooting for Tennessee, probably.
You're right.
Yeah. He was from Memphis. That's right.
Kevin, thank you. One of the pleasant surprises of last week's game against the Browns, more pleasant than that grapple at least, was the improved Raiders defense. Heidi Fang talked to Raiders linebacker Nick Kwitkowski about his role in the win and leading the NFL defense during a pandemic.
What is it like for you to be the lead signal caller on this team after you had come over from Chicago and now being with the Raiders?
It's been great. A lot of responsibility. That's something we talked about, when I first got here. So something I've been preparing for, and, even Zoom off-season meetings, things like that. I did my best to kind of prepare, even over the computer when we weren't able to meet. So it's been something we've been working on for, since the beginning.
Well, you've really made a statement here, especially in your most recent performance back in Cleveland. What was it like for you to come away with that fumble? What was to force the fumble, what was that feeling like for you?
It was good. It was, anytime you got a team driving down the field, in a game like that too, bad weather game, you need turnovers. Anytime you get the ball back and give an opportunity to offense, it's great. Turnovers can, decide games. So, you always want to try to get the ball out, get interceptions, give the offense an opportunity.
So as you come around here with this young defense, how do you see yourself as a leader on this team?
Yeah, it's been different in years past, building camaraderie, kind of building relationships in the locker room and on the field, just with the circumstances. But I feel like we've come a long way since camp, since we got together on Zoom. we've come a long way. And it's still a work in progress, but we were a close group on defense, and each week I see continuous building of that. So I'm excited to continue to do that.
Now it is time for a status check. Sam, the Raiders have a handful of players listed as questionable today, including running back Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling good this weekend, has been battling an illness, but he's probably going to go, and the Raiders need him to go after what he gave them last week with 31 carries. You have the 129 yards, season high for him. That running game finally got going, and it struggled all year. They're going to need Jacobs today against the Chargers for sure.
Yeah. And on the Chargers side of the ball, defensive end Joey Bosa is not going to play after suffering a concussion last week. Sam, DC is probably not happy about this one, but, there's a little bit of happiness there.
Yeah, for sure. As Vinny touched on, he is a monster on that defensive line. One of the best 5 pass rushers in the NFL, in my opinion. And frankly, it's a big break for the Raiders, who might not have Colton Miller, as Vinny touched on at the beginning of the show. He's a game-time decision. So if they don't have him, it's going to be a boost to whoever steps in on that offensive line, whoever's starting on that right and that left side, not to have to worry about Joey Bosa, who is, again, one of the baddest men in the NFL.
Right. All right. Well, now it is time to take you across the league. Sam, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers travel to Santa Clara on Thursday to face the depleted 49ers team, or Heidi Fang, her 49ers team.
Yeah, depleted is an understatement. They had nothing. That roster's shot with injuries, with the coronavirus, and frankly, the Green Bay Packers did what they were supposed to do. Aaron Rodgers comes out, throws for 300 yards, throws for 4 touchdowns, puts that game away in the first half. 34-17 is the final score. It wasn't that close, and now Green Bay gets the extra couple days of rest. Aaron Jones came back in that game, their star running back. He was battling a calf injury the previous couple weeks. He played. They're happy to have him back, and now they get a couple extra days to heal up and prepare for the stretch run.
Right. Well, meanwhile, a former Dallas Cowboy who hasn't played in the NFL since 2017 is set to take the field today with Baltimore.
That would be Dez Bryant. Yeah. And he, as we know, for several years there with the Cowboys, was one of the best receivers in the NFL. Hasn't played in the league, as you mentioned, Cassie, in a couple of years, but I expect him to give that Baltimore passing offense a lift. We know Baltimore can run the ball. They have the best rushing offense in the NFL with Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, and Mark Ingram when he's healthy, but they've struggled to get the ball going through the air. The passing offense isn't what it was last year, and Dez Bryant gives them a big body, a physical receiver target to catch passes.
That's right. All right. Well, still to come on Vegas Nation Game Day, Ed Graney has his hot take on today's game. Don't go anywhere.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Vegas Nation Blitz is your weekly source for Raiders news.
We're going to stick together, bond together. We're going to make some changes.
Vegas Nation Blitz brings you fast takes and smart coverage.
All we have to do is make a stop right there, and the whole complexion of this game changes.
Vegas Nation Blitz, new episodes airing every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews.
How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender either.
They are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe. Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
Today's replay is sponsored by De Castro Verde Law Group. Our motivation is you.
When fans think Raiders-Chargers, more than a few memorable moments should surface between these two teams. Both teams were founded in 1960 as part of the American Football League. Though the Chargers were initially based in Los Angeles, they would move to San Diego in 1961 and wouldn't return to LA until 2017. The Raiders played in LA from 1982 to 1994. In 2015, the two teams proposed to share a stadium in Los Angeles. The NFL owners rejected this proposal and instead brought the Rams back to LA. SoFi Stadium, which was finished in time for the 2020 season, is the home shared by the LA Rams and the LA Chargers. The Raiders moved to Las Vegas in 2020 and play at Allegiant Stadium. The AFC West teams have met 121 times, which includes one playoff appearance. The Raiders bested the Chargers in their one postseason meeting 34-27 on January 11, 1981. The Raiders went on to win the Super Bowl that year. In the early years spent in the AFL, the Chargers had 5 AFL Western Division championships to the Raiders' 3. 2 of the Chargers championships were won with Al Davis, who worked as an assistant coach for the franchise before becoming the Silver and Blacks head coach in 1963. In the regular season, the Raiders owned the series advantage 64-54 with 2 ties. The current streak between these two rivals goes to the Raiders, who have won the last 2 contests. And that's this week's Game Day replay.
While the Raiders were winning the Grapple game last week, the Chargers were blowing a 21-point lead against the Broncos. Head coach Anthony Lynn has had to help his team regroup and focus on the Raiders. Here's what he had to say this week.
Risk, or is that something that just with Gus's system that's part of the deal, or is that just part of the deal in the NFL playing defense?
No, I mean guys have to take proper angles. You know, guys have to tackle when they're supposed to tackle. We have erased their tacklers, and we haven't made some of those plays, and we've taken some poor angles, and we've got to get better at those deals. But if we can't, then we have to change our scheme a little bit and do something differently. And Gus is ready to do that.
So what Casey's talking about, is it more just individual play as opposed to something that's with the scheme?
You know, Casey takes a lot of accountability for his play, his teammates' play, and they do a good job in the back end of holding each other accountable. So, you know, there's some things that they're working out back there that I know that's going to get corrected because they wanted to. And this system, I mean, for the first half, I mean, helped the Broncos to a very few yards. So I don't think you have to do too much to it, but you may have to tweak it a little bit at certain times.
All eyes have been on Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert since his first start in Week 2 of his rookie season. Sam has this look at how Herbert has connections to UNLV.
Thanks, Cassie. Before Justin Herbert was breaking and setting rookie records as an NFL quarterback, he was a college quarterback at Oregon, playing in his hometown of Eugene for none other than UNLV Rebels first-year head coach Marcus Arroyo. That's right, Arroyo was Herbert's offensive coordinator for 3 years at Oregon and worked closely with him as he became one of the top prospects in the 2020 NFL Draft. Under Arroyo, Herbert passed for 8,605 yards and 76 touchdowns, including 61 over the course of his junior and senior seasons. The Ducks won the Rose Bowl this past January. Arroyo left Oregon for UNLV, and Herbert was drafted 6th overall by the Los Angeles Chargers. Arroyo spoke about Herbert this week, and he isn't the least bit surprised by his former quarterback's NFL success.
Justin's success is awesome. I don't unfortunately get to watch any of it, not much of it at all, obviously, but we talk every week in text as I try to get through a couple things and watch the highlights or watch whatever it is. I'm not surprised by any of it. He's got all the tools, and I said that in all the pre-draft stuff and everything else, continue to say it. He's got all the stuff around now. He's actually got some big time weapons too. So that's it's been really good, man. I'm fired up for him.
And the feelings of adulation are mutual. Herbert referred to Arroyo earlier this season as, quote, one of the greatest role models I've ever had, end quote. The two keep in contact weekly as they work their new jobs. Arroyo, of course, with the Rebels, who, by the way, lost 40-27 to Fresno State on Saturday, and Herbert with the Chargers.
Sam, do you know what time it is now?
Time for us to look at today's social media, of course.
This social media update is sponsored by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable.
Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Mr. Decisive is trying to recruit receiver Golden Tate to the Silver and Black, Sam.
I can see why. Golden Tate's one of the toughest receivers in the NFL and has been for the last decade. He would definitely be a boost to that Raiders offense, but I think the Giants are happy having him there in New York.
He says you're definitely going to get some passes. Just ask Darren Waller there.
He certainly would, Cassie. I know that.
Well, now let's go ahead and get to Ed's hot takes, where Ed Graney tells us what he's learned so far this season. Ed.
Thanks, Cassie. Hey, everyone. Well, the Raiders earned themselves an impressive 16-6 road victory in Cleveland last week in what were some of the worst weather conditions many of the Las Vegas players said they've ever been in. A fact myself and Review Journal colleague Vinny Bonsignore can attest to, given we were almost picked up and blown to Michigan merely walking to our car afterward. But any road victory is the one to be cherished in the NFL, and the Raiders get a chance to win another when visiting the Chargers today at beautiful SoFi Stadium. Let's make this week all about what I've learned in regards to the Las Vegas Raiders. Through 7 games, it's absolutely nothing. I mean, not totally nothing, but I am 2-5 picking their games in this segment, which will come as no surprise to those who have religiously over the years bet against any plays I might offer and become famously wealthy doing so. Nice to meet you. I'm Eddie the Mush. What can I tell you? And here's the shameless plug to read my column in today's copy of the Vegas Nation preview section of the Review Journal. There is a definite path for the Raiders to make the playoffs. First, the opponents Las Vegas, being 4-3, has seen so far is the NFL's toughest schedule. But going forward, the Raiders will encounter, based on record, one of the easiest schedule ratings across the entire NFL. Now, that doesn't mean anything if they can't take care of business on the field, but it's far better than the alternative of having to continue facing many of the teams of the caliber they have so far. Remember, each conference will now have an extra wild card this season for a total of 7 playoff teams in the NFC and the AFC. Heck, there's even talk this week about an 8th in each conference. But even if it stays at 7, a final record of at least 9-7 should have the Raiders right in the thick of things for the playoffs. Las Vegas was able to grab a head-to-head tiebreaker edge over Cleveland last week, and upcoming games against Miami and Indianapolis would afford it the same opportunity. You want the path? 3 winnable home games against Denver, the Chargers, and Miami. The Raiders need to win 2. Road games against the Chargers, Atlanta, Jets, and Denver. The Raiders need to win 2 of the 4. Of tougher home games against Kansas City and the Colts, the Raiders need to split. What does that get you? That gets you 9-7. Conjecture, guesswork, speculation. Of course, I'm 2-5 picking these guys. I don't know what I'm talking about. But we're going to see if I hit this one right. Chargers 27, Raiders 24. I'm Ed Graney, and those are my hot takes, and don't bet on them.
Ed, thank you. We'll get some final thoughts on today's game right after the break. Stay with us.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Vegas Nation Blitz is your weekly source for Raiders news.
We're going to stick together, bond together. We're going to make some changes.
Vegas Nation Blitz brings you fast takes and smart coverage.
All we have to do is make a stop right there, and the whole complexion of this game changes.
Vegas Nation Blitz, new episodes airing every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews.
How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender
paper,
either.
They are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe. Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
The Road Ahead is sponsored by the Richard Harris Law Firm. Just in case. Injured? Call 444-4444.
Welcome back to Vegas Nation Game Day. I'm Cassie Soto here with Sam Gordon. Remember, you can follow all the developments leading up to kickoff at vegasnation.com. Sam, the road ahead brings the Raiders back home to Allegiant Stadium to face off against the Denver Broncos.
The very pedestrian Denver Broncos, Cassie. I mean, this is a team that if it wasn't by the grace of the Los Angeles Chargers blowing a 21-point lead, that would be 2-5 and looking at needing to make some substantial changes as the season goes along here. They don't pass it particularly well. Drew Lock, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, only completing 58% of his passes. They don't run it very well. Leading rusher Melvin Gordon with 375 yards. That's it. And they don't really stop anybody either. But they were able to pull out a win against the Chargers last week, as we know, who squandered that big lead. And they have a winnable game this week against Atlanta on the road. So we'll see what they look like this week. I'm not counting on a victory in Atlanta, but not a great team, Denver, coming to Allegiant.
Sorry, Bronco fans out there. I know one in particular. Well, now let's go back to today's game. Let's go back out to SoFi Stadium for some final thoughts from Heidi Fang, Vinny Bonsignor, and Ed Graney. Heidi.
Thanks, Cassie. It's Heidi Fang, Ed Graney, Vinny Bonsignor. We're back with you here from SoFi, and today we're going to be telling you what we're looking for in this game. So for me, I'm going to be watching what the defense does. Last week, the linebackers and Corey Littleton and Nick Kwitkowski combined for a total of 7 tackles. Plus, Nick Kwitkowski really brought on some pressure. He was able to force a fumble in the game that Moreau recovered, and that was a great thing for the Raiders defense, the morale. We'll see if they can keep it up. Plus, Jonathan Abrams back after missing a couple practices. Will he be able to withhold everything that he has in this game with stamina and be able to bring on pressure as well with this team? Ed, what are you looking at?
Will the pocket be clean for Derek Carr? Vinny, we know Joey Bosa is out for the Chargers, but Trent Brown out for the Raiders, Richie Incognito out for the Raiders, Colton Wheeler might be out for the Raiders. They've got to keep the pocket clean. I know Bosa's a great player, but the Chargers still can bring that pressure. Carr got sacked twice last week in Cleveland, Vinny, but I'm going to look at what's going to happen with Derek Carr. If they can keep him upright, I think they have a great chance to win.
All right, Vinny.
I'm looking right at number 11, rookie wide receiver Henry Ruggs, and I'll tell you why. They took a shot last week downfield to Henry Ruggs. He was wide open, but the wind off Lake Erie knocked that ball down. They decided we're not going to do that again, but today in quasi-indoor SoFi Stadium, pristine conditions, I think they take a couple of shots downfield to Henry Ruggs. It's going to be difficult running. Ed mentioned that the tackle situation and without Richie Incognito, a little bit in flux there, so take some deep shots to Henry Ruggs. They want to get him involved in the offense a lot of different ways, but specifically downfield. I think they're going to do that today.
There you have it from SoFi Stadium. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, guys. Well, Sam, let's go ahead and get your final thoughts on today's game.
Yeah, compelling matchup, right? A crucial, winnable game for the Raiders. Those guys touched on it a little bit without some of their offensive linemen. But I think that they have enough offensively nonetheless to win this game. I expect a shootout. We know that Justin Herbert and that Chargers offense can score some points. We know that. But we also know that Derek Carr is in the midst of his best season of his NFL career so far. 14 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, passer rating over 110. I think he's more than capable of winning a shootout with Justin Herbert if he needs to, and I expect that running game to stay on track too. Josh Jacobs coming off his best game of the season. High scoring affair. Nonetheless, these two teams aren't exactly known for defense, but they are known for playing entertaining football, and that's what you're going to get today.
Awesome, Sam. Well, thank you so much. Well, fans, there is still time to get a copy of this special edition Vegas Nation Game Day special section in today's Review Journal, available now on newsstands, or subscribe by visiting reviewjournal.com. For our Vegas Nation crew, Sam Gordon, Cassie Soto here in studio, everybody out in the field, we can't thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. Stay tuned to everything at vegasnation.com. We'll see you.